So, God gave us a 5,000 square foot apartment. We decided to minister like Jesus. We're called to be urban missionaries. So let me ask you a question. Why did you sign up? Why did you become a Christian? What did you think your life would look like? Next. Was it to be average, typical consumer, seeking comfort and security, but taking time to squeeze Jesus in a couple hours a week? Or do you have a memory of wanting to change the world? Would you like to be revolutionary in a cosmic war with a sure promise of victory? Pretty cool, huh? Next. Oh, no, not. So would you rather be an average Christian or a super Christian? But Ruth has something she wants to read now. And yeah,
is this it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to be a normal evangelical or?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, oh well. This will be coming from an interesting person for you. Somebody you would not expect to hear from on a morning like this or an afternoon like this. So, sorry, there we go. And this is actually a quote from Bill Maher. Everybody knows Bill Maher? No?
Bill Maher is a talk show host on HBO. He's an outspoken atheist and hates every religion. Actually, he says every religion is nothing but a crutch. So go ahead.
Yeah, he's anti-Christian, shall we say. So this is his take on who we are. See if you find yourself in this. If you're a Christian that supports killing your enemy and torture, you have to come up with a new name for yourself. Capping thy enemy is not exactly what Jesus would do. For almost 2,000 years, Christians have been lawyering the Bible to try to figure out how love thy neighbor can mean hate thy neighbor. Martin Luther King Jr. gets to call himself a Christian because he actually practiced loving his enemies. And Gandhi, who was so Christian he was Hindu.
So effing Christian. That's what it says.
But if you're endorsing revenge, torture, or war, you cannot say you're a follower of the guy who explicitly said, love your enemy and do good to those who hate you. And not to put too fine a point on it, but nonviolence was kind of Jesus' trademark, kind of his big thing. To not follow that, part of it is like joining Greenpeace and hunting whales.
Hating.
Hating. Okay. Have you memorized this thing? Yeah. Come on. How do you know? There's interpreting and then there's just ignoring. It's just ignoring if you're for torture, as are more evangelical Christians than any other religion. You're supposed to look at that figure of Christ on the cross and think, how could a man suffer like that and forgive? I'm a non-Christian, just like most Christians. If you ignore every single thing Jesus commanded you to do, you're not a Christian, you're just auditing. You're not Christ followers, you're just fans. And if you believe the earth was given to you to kick ass on while gloating, you're not really a Christian, you're a Texan.
Amen. Okay, thank you, Ruth.
Anyway, at the end, we're going to have a question and answer time, so we can talk about that quote more if you want.
Okay, next. So, this is what I learned from Keller, and this is sort of what turned me on to the path that we're on now. This is one of Keller's primary verses that informs his ministry in the city. And let me give you a little context. The people of Israel are in exile for their sins, and they've just been brought here as prisoners, and the false prophets arise and they say, don't worry about it, we're going to get out of here just in a little while, a few months, God's going to get us out of here, just huddle together and be all right. And Jeremiah rises up, and he says, let me tell you what God says. He says, build houses and settle down, plant gardens and eat what they produce. So far, it doesn't sound like a few months, right? Okay. marry and have sons and daughters, find wives for your sons and give your daughters in marriage, so that they too may have sons and daughters. Now he's into grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Increase in number there and do not decrease. So God's saying, I'm not going to get you out of here anytime soon. Then he says, also seek the peace and prosperity of the city to which I've carried you into exile. Pray to the Lord for it, because if it prospers, you too will prosper. Now Keller's point is, you need to understand what he's saying. Seek the peace and prosperity of the people that just killed your parents and grandparents and brought you into exile. Now folks, I don't know about you, I have a hard time loving people I disagree with politically. I have a hard time disagreeing, I really have a hard time with you, Darren. I have a hard time loving people that disagree with me in general about anything. And I especially have a hard time loving people that has offended me in some way that is a much lesser offense than killing my parents or grandparents. But God says, love these people, seek their peace, seek their prosperity, seek their peace. Make it better for them, make life better for them. And not only make it peaceful and wonderful for them to live, but also make it so they are prosperous. Now that's outrageous. But there was somebody, and there is somebody, that loves the people that hate him. And he seeks their peace and their prosperity. So that's our call to the city. Seek the peace and prosperity of Greensboro. For when it prospers, we all prosper. When it prospers, we prosper. And that's God's call to us.